Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is John Levesque. Actually, let me say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you're tuning in around the world. My name is John Levesque. I am the lead product evangelist here at DocuSign, and I am joined by a fabulous guest, Yash Agarwal, Microsoft BizApps MVP. How you doing, Yash?
Hey John, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited for today. Excited to see some DocuSign plus Power Automate, man. So, for those of you at home, real quick, if you're not already following the DocuSign API channel here, go ahead and click that follow button so that you can make sure and see all of the awesome sessions we have. And also, welcome if you are here from the Good Code Hackathon. We're excited to see you here this morning and talk a little bit about some low code options on how you can be using the API. And otherwise, just excited to have everybody here and be live with you this morning. We will have live chat, so if you have questions, please feel free to ask them. We'll be able to pull them up. Yash will go ahead and answer them. But let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. We have seen in the market quite a large demand for low code and no code tools, right? We've seen Google App Sheet and Salesforce, and now there's a million. There's Zapier and there's Nintex and of course there's Power Automate, which we're here to talk about today. But the fun about these things is it gives you an ability, if you are not a developer, to be able to do developer-y things. And if you are a developer, it gives you an option to do things a lot faster. You don't have to custom code everything. And so Yash here is a community member of ours. Like I mentioned earlier, he's a BizApps MVP, Business Applications MVP for Microsoft, which means that he gets to build cool stuff like this all the time. And so I thought, instead of me doing the demo and you seeing from someone at DocuSign, oh, this is cool, I figured I'd bring on someone from the community who's actually using this stuff in the real world, helping people with these implementations so that he could show you how you can actually take these two technologies, work them together, and implement them in your own business. And so I'm just going to go ahead here and hand it over to Yash. Yash, before you get started, do me a favor, introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and what you're doing, and then go ahead and jump right into to the session today.
All right, thank you so much, John. So, hey everyone, I'm Yash Agarwal, and I'm a Microsoft MVP and MCT for business applications, as John was mentioning. I'm also a Power Platform consultant, and I'm based out of
Yash,
India.
real quick, do me a
Yeah.
favor. I'm not seeing your PowerPoint.
All righty. Sorry about that.
No
Okay.
problem. There we go. Awesome. I
All
am
right.
seeing it now.
Yeah. So, as we were mentioning, we'll be talking about DocuSign
Oh,
in India. If you want to connect with me over LinkedIn, you can scan this QR code and connect with me over there. Also, follow me on Twitter and follow my blog from the links on the screen. Just to add, I'm also a super user on the Power Users community forums for Microsoft Flow and Microsoft Power Automate and Power Apps. So if you are using these tools and if you're facing any issues, feel free to tag me over there and I'll respond.
he really means it. He really, when he
Yeah.
says if you need the help, he'll really help you. If you contact him, it's not just fluff. So I just want to put that out there.
Okay. And then about today. So what we'll be doing is we'll see how we can create these template documents that we can use, and we'll just fill up those template documents using Power Automate. And when we talk about template documents, basically these are attachments that go as a part of the envelope when we send it for signature. And in that envelope, in that template document, we can use tabs which will replace the placeholders that we put. We'll talk a little bit more about this when I'll show you the template actually, and it'll make more sense. And then we'll also see how we can use conditional tabs. So, for example, if we were working with text types, and then you also have something that allows the user to choose from a certain number of options. And then, based on the selected option, if you wanted to get more inputs, we can do that as well. And then finally, once we have the template ready, we'll move towards Power Automate, where we'll be looking at how we can create a custom connector, because that's very important to use these DocuSign actions in there. And then we'll see how we can structure these flows in Power Automate that can be triggered based on a particular event. And then it populates the template based upon the information that it gets when the flow triggers. and then
Okay.
finally send it for signature using the e-signature API.
Excellent. Awesome. Okay. I'm
So
excited for this. I've had actually quite a few customers asking me recently about how to dynamically fill in tabs or change tabs. So it's very exciting. I think it's going to be useful to a lot of folks. Yeah.
John, I lost you there for a minute, but okay, I'm back now. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
okay. I hear you. Yes. I think
Okay.
we're having a little bit of connectivity issues, Yash. I think one of us
Okay.
is cutting in or out, but we'll keep it going here. I think overall we're doing okay.
Okay, sounds good. So let's move to the template at the first point, because this is what will be sent in the envelope that we send using the e-signature API and Power Automate. So the scenario that we're looking at over here is we are automating the process of a contractor agreement, where a company decides to hire somebody on contract and they want to quickly start their agreement and send them over a basic set of documents that allow both the parties to get into a specific working nature by agreeing to certain terms, let's say the pay rate, and then a little bit of confidentiality here and there, etc. So usually the contractor agreement would have the company details, and then we have placeholders over here where we can have the name of the contractor and then the address of the contractor. This is how generally it starts, but it could be different. The purpose or the thing that I'm trying to show here is, as you can see, the company details. This is going to be constant for a company that is trying to send this over to their contractors and automate the process thoroughly. But then the contractor name and the address can keep changing. So, which is why we have these placeholders where we start it with the double slash and then put the name as contractor name and then end it with the double slash. Similarly, we have contractor address. Now, these two fields which we are requesting inputs for from the user are of type text, and we'll see how this implicates when we are trying to actually create the envelope and then send it over. So once we have these two fields, as we move further, I've added a few more over here. So let's say there's an availability field over here that allows the user to put in information about what is their exact availability per month, and then what is the payment option that they want to opt for. So as I was mentioning earlier, we can have a different type of input from the user, and the CB1 over here means that we're going to place a checkbox, and then below that I have another option. So first one is monthly and the second one is bi-weekly. So the user can select one of these two options, and then finally initial their signature over here stating that okay, I acknowledge that I have chosen one of the above two options, and then this is what I confirm by signing or by putting a small initial here, which is why I have this initial here tab. And then as we move further, I've added another part over here where we say that contract commencement. So if the contractor is available to start immediately, then they select this option. If they have a preferred date, they would select this option. Now here is where our conditional tab comes in force. So if I'm selecting a preferred date, I want that the user should enter or specify the date from where they are available. If they are immediately available, then this input is not required. So we'll see how we can structure these conditional tabs and say that, okay, if the person has selected the second option from the checkbox 2, then only make this field, which is start date, as mandatory and then display it to the user. And then after everything is filled out for the contractor, we have a sign here tab where they'll sign, and then we'll also record this date when the signature was, when this document was signed.
Yep.
And then same for the company. So whoever signs this, and let's say in the company, if there's a specific team that's hiring this contractor, then we'll have to send this over to the team's team lead so that they can acknowledge the receipt of this signed document, and then the process moves on further.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. So another point to note over here is basically, since I've put these tabs over here as text, I'll be using these as search strings in my body that I'm going to create for the e-signature API. But then once I do that, these are black in color, which means that this text is black. So what the API does is it places its tab upon this, and therefore when you enter something, it starts meshing it
Oh,
so
it'll like
you don't
feed
see it
through.
properly. Correct. So what we'll
Okay.
do is we'll make this same as the background color. So if I made it as white, I'll not be able to see it here. I'm just going to see what DocuSign is going to place.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've done this already, and I have put my document here on the cloud in SharePoint. So you see that if I hover over here, I have the contractor name and then the contractor address, and here should have been the availability tab, and then I have had a checkbox here. So if I'm selecting this, you'll be able to see that there's CB1 here in white,
Got it.
and
Okay.
similarly the other items as well. So now that our template is ready, we are going to use this template to send it as a part of the envelope to a user from whom we need the signature. So
Okay.
let's say we are one third from our target today. So the template
Okay.
is
So
ready. Yep.
we took the template, it's a Word document, we uploaded it to SharePoint, so it's in the cloud so that we can access it with Power Automate, because if it was just saved to our computer somewhere, that wouldn't work. We went ahead now and put all these anchors in place and then made them all white in preparation, because that's funny that I didn't realize DocuSign will place the box over and bleed it through. I thought maybe it would like live on top of it, but I understand now why you'd make it white, so it hides it out of the way. So cool. All right, I'm with you so far.
Correct. And then now the thing is like I'm directly using the DocuSign action to populate or to just send it over to the user to populate this. But in case if any of this information was variable, but then available to us from SharePoint or from Excel or from any other data source like SQL or even Common Data Service. So what we can do is we can have another step in between where for contractor name, I would just add a placeholder that could be filled in by an action in Power Automate called as populate a Word document. So
Mm,
the flow would be like it triggers on an event, gets the data, fills up this information based on the placeholders using the populator Word document, and saves it to SharePoint. And after that, it grabs that document that is the filled one, and then it sends it over with DocuSign. So in case there's
nice.
some information like that, we can do that also.
Okay, I like that. Makes
Yeah,
it a
that's
little more dynamic. Makes it so you could even have a form on your website that would grab information from someone and drop it into this to start the process.
yes, correct.
Cool,
And
cool.
so just to keep it simple, for now, we'll directly do it with DocuSign itself.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to come here and log into DocuSign. So since it's a demo account, you'll see that we'll have account dash D. I think my password changed. So,
Moment of truth.
and once we sign in over here, we'll just navigate to the next page. And all right, let's go to DocuSign Developer directly. So I'm going to search for DocuSign Developer and then go to developers.docusign.com and sign in over there. Okay, so I'm already signed in and I'll click my apps and keys here.
This is
And
an important place. If
yes,
you don't have a developer account, they're free. It's a good opportunity. You can go and grab one. You can create apps. You can connect to the demo Power Automate connector. There's a lot that it enables you. It's a great sandbox. There's no time limit on it. And so go ahead, Yash.
correct. So here you'll see that I have something called as an integration key. And this is really very important when we are trying to automate something. And I have already created one over here, but if you were starting fresh, you can just select this add app and integration key and you can create one for yourself. So the purpose of this is basically to create a custom connector on the Power Platform to use it as an action on Flow. So since we have this already, I'm directly going to go to Power Automate now, and let's go from the start. So if I was directly logging on to Power Automate, you'll see this screen. I have my environment selected over here. To start creating a custom connector, I can come to data here and click on custom connectors. And I'll also say you the reason why we're creating a custom connector is basically Power Automate already has a connector for DocuSign, but then those connectors have actions which are quite direct in nature, and you cannot have a lot of customization over there. So if you have to send an envelope, you'll have to first create a template directly on DocuSign itself. So
So let
let's
me
say,
let me let me give you a couple caveats. I have some important information on this actually. So a couple of things. One, we're using a custom connector because although you could do an HTTP call and do this with legacy off, DocuSign is deprecating legacy auth and will not allow new apps to be created with legacy auth actually tomorrow. And so OAuth is the recommended path forward. And so using the custom connector does put you on the OAuth 2 path. Now, the second piece of this, the connector, the Power Automate connector itself is not very robust at the moment, which is why we're creating this custom connector like Yash said. But I have some very exciting news that we at DocuSign have actually started to take over that connector now through the Community Connectors program. And we will be making updates to the connector, adding more actions and making the connector more robust. There is a plan. I've seen it. Can't talk too much about it, but just want you to know this connector will expand and include a lot more actions default so that you don't have to build this connector. All right, cool. I got that out of the way. Go ahead, Yash.
Nice. I mean, excited to see
It's
what
good
you've done
news,
on
right?
it. Yes, yes, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start creating a new custom connector here from blank, and let's name it as DocuSign and C2. So just so that we're naming it as custom in one. So now I can define connector icons and background colors, etc., but will not get very deep there. The important part here is we select the scheme as HTTPS. And since I'm working on a trial account right now for DocuSign, I'll have the base URI as demo.docusign.net, and I'll be using this one. And after that, I have a base URL which is the REST API slash v2.1. This is the one we are actually going to use. So I'll paste it over here and then move to the next security tab. So in the general, we've provided the base URI, and then in the security tab, we're going to select OAuth 2.0 and start filling in the details over here. So you'll see that it has the client ID. I mean, this is for a previous one that I might have created, but we'll get rid of everything here. And your client ID is basically going to be your integration key. And I'm going to come back here and paste it, get rid of the extra space. And for the client secret,
It's
um,
important. It's important to get rid of that extra space.
yes, I'll come back here. I'll go to my actions on this integrator key and click on edit. After clicking on edit, you'll see auth is the one that we're going to use. So I'll just copy this over and paste it here. By the way, you can get all of this information already on the DocuSign documents. So there's a
Yep.
proper documentation for that.
The e-signature API documentation will have this information for you. Also, feel free to copy exactly what you see here from Yash, except for his client secret. Go get your own one of those.
Right. And then we'll have the token URL and the refresh URL the same because we are using the e-signature one. And once I have this, I can move on to the definition tab here where we're going to add actions. So right now we just need one action, which is send envelope. So let's create that. And I can add, yeah, I can add some description here. So let's say create custom templates and send envelopes. And then there's an operation ID. So it needs to be starting with a capital letter without any unique characters. So I have this here now. And then there's a next part where we add the request. So I'll click import from sample here. I'm going to select a post request because that's the one we're going to do. And then I have this. So I'm going to copy over my base URI along with the entire string and right, paste it over here. You'll see that I have demo.docusign.net, REST API v2.1, accounts, and then account ID, and then envelopes. So this information again is available on the documentation. So you just have to go to the developers.docusign.com and search for envelopes API reference. So I have the base URI here. In the account ID, I'm going to have to add my account ID, which is over here. So I'll just go back one step, and I'm going to copy my account ID and come back to flow and hard code it over here. You can always parameterize it if you have multiple accounts that are being used, and that's usually general best practice for when we're using custom connectors. But for now, I'm going to hard code it, and I don't need anything for the body. I'm just going to put two braces so that it allows me to pass custom body here. Once this is done, I'll just click import. It says okay. It takes a few seconds to recognize, and then I
give
can
you
add
give
a
you a minor heart attack.
yeah. And you can add a response over here. So this is again, I'll show you why this is of significance here. But if you think that it's going to keep changing based upon the type of templates and the type of envelopes that you're going to send, it's better to leave this as is and then move to code, which we are not going to use in this one. You can also add any custom code if needed, but we are directly going to go and create connector. So it takes a few seconds to save it, and then we'll be able to see all the magic.
doing my doing my good luck dance over here.
Okay,
Perfect.
so it got created successfully. I'm going to go to test, and then you'll see that there's a connections tab, and then there's a send envelope tab. So I'm first going to create a connection, and this is via the OAuth 2.0. So it allows me to sign in using my credentials from which it creates this connection, and then I can select it, and now I can test an operation. So to test
Nice.
this operation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to raw body, get rid of these two, and come back here. We'll just take an example from the documentation and switch to request, copy everything from here, and come back and paste. Now, if I send this, it's going to fail because there needs to be a document string here, and then the email needs to be proper. So I'll put my email address here, and we'll just come back to this after a second. So I'm going to open a new tab and go to flow.microsoft.com. So this one is basically we'll just do a quick action to get um, a document base 64 string. So I'll manually trigger this flow. I'll add a step here and search for SharePoint. And here I'm going to search for get file content using path because we've already updated or uploaded our document here. So I'll just select the site, navigate to the path which is on my shared documents and sample template. Save. Let's just rename this to get document base 64. Save again and test now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get the base 64 of the file, and once we have it, I'll just copy over that string. So this is what we're looking for. Just go on and on and on.
It's a lot of A's.
Yeah,
A, A.
I believe we'll reach the end and
Getting
it
there.
doesn't bad luck. So this not does not copy everything. So what I have to do is I'm going to add another compose action here and file content, but this gets me the schema also. So I just need the base 64. Put it like this and a question mark and look for dollar content because that's where the base 64 is. Test again. And now grab everything from here. So this basically gets us everything.
Got
Come
it.
back, and then since it's a Word doc, what I'm going to do is file extension is docx, and I'll name the file as contractor agreement docx. And then paste my base64 string here without the double quotes. Right. All right.
Told you, lots of
So
A's.
yeah, now let's just test the operation. So okay, it says something is off. What we're going to do is, oh my god,
That's a lot.
yeah. I mean, we've created the custom connector, so we'll directly test it on the action. But I just wanted to do a quick test here as well. Let's just try once, and if it does not work, we'll just directly go to the flow. Okay, fine, it worked now.
Wanted the quotes.
Yeah. All right, so I've sent it over to my email address only. Let's see what I receive here. Okay, so it says that the subject is please DocuSign the contractor agreement, and um, I'm just seeing what all it sent. All right, let's review the document. Now you'll see that I'll agree and continue. Despite having those placeholders, since DocuSign did not find a single placeholder, basically we used the sample from the examples
Mm,
itself. It had signer date as a string, anchor string, and then it has signer one name, and we didn't have any of these. So if there's
got it.
none of these available in your document, it will give you these fields options where you can add data. So
Okay.
once I'm done with everything, I can just add a signature here and just, it pull up my name as Darlene Peterson. I don't know who this is, but
Yeah.
adopt and sign.
That's you now.
I can finish this, but let's just leave it. We'll come back and start creating something afresh. Now, basically, this action confirms that our custom connector is going to work fine. So we'll just update connector for safe side, just in case if you miss something, and close it. Takes a few seconds. So,
We need the
okay.
Jeopardy theme.
All right. I'll close this now. I'll close this tab also. I'll come back to Power Automate where, or before Power Automate, there's another setup that we'll have to do, which is
Okay.
on SharePoint. So, to every contractor that we are sending this, we'll also have to save a log. So, what we'll do is on SharePoint, I'm going to create a new list, and let's name this list. I mean, let's create a blank one and name it as new contractors. And for description, I'll just add for pending agreements and onboarding. So it just differentiates that the new contractor is basically yet to hire. And let's leave the title for the name of the person. I'll add a single line of text column here to store the email. And I'll also create another column here to store the envelope ID.
So you might be wondering, well, why a single line of text? Why not use the email type? It's because Power Automate
Mhm.
likes single line of text. It likes strings. It works with them best. I've always done single line of text for every input type, regardless of what it is.
Yes. I mean, on SharePoint, we can create person type columns also, but for that, the person has to be on the tenant first.
Got it.
So I'll have this envelope ID, just make sure it's like this and save. And then we can just create another column of type choice and say agreement status. And first one is sent for signing, or let's put draft as the first one. The second one is sent for signing, and the third one is sign and save. Okay, so now we have our SharePoint structure ready. Basically, we'll have the title, which is the name of the contractor, their email address. Envelope ID over here is to store the envelope ID once we send them the agreement to sign. And then we're basically going to use this to retrieve this line item when we want to store back the signed agreement here.
Nice. Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So let's start a new tab and go to flow. Um, I can go to my flows now and start a new one. Let's skip this for now. And for this one, as we were talking, that we'll be using an event-based trigger. We'll use when an item is created. So as soon as the item is created in SharePoint, we'll trigger this flow.
Yep.
And I'll point it to the specific list and add new step. And over here, what we'll do is we'll first get the file content of the contractor agreement. And let's provide that path. Okay, now we have the sample template. The next step is DocuSign. So I'm going to shift to custom and select the DocuSign C1. This is the one that we created, and it
Nice.
is expecting us to provide the body. And what we'll do is um, I have a sample body that I have already created. So
Okay.
let's look at that. Basically, the document base 64 is going to be there. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and get rid of this part. Okay, there's still quite a bit of it. So put the double quote as this comma. Okay, so we have the documents where we'll have the document base 64, and we are having the document ID, which is one, which signifies it's the first document, and then the file extension and the name of the file. Then we have the email subject, which says please sign the contractor agreement, and then here's the place where the um, actual body begins. So in the recipients, we're going to have signers, and this is of type array. So there can be multiple signers for the same document. And the first signer in our case is, I've put my name here, and then the recipient ID signifies who the document needs to go first to, and same with the routing order here. So we'll place 1 1 here, and in our case, this should go to the contractor. And then I have a date signed tab so that I get when it was signed. And if I compare it back with my document here, so you'll see that I have a date signed tab here for the contractor, and it matches with this one. So similarly, we have all these other as well, and the checkbox tab, which is CB1, and this is for our type of compensation that the contractor can select. Is it going to be monthly or is it going to be bi-weekly? And after having that, I have the checkbox 2, which is the other one where we are saying if what's their availability looking like. And then you'll see that I have the tab groups here where I'm specifying that the user should select exactly one from each of those checkboxes. The checkbox group 1 and checkbox group. These are the two groups where we have those checkboxes for. And then comes the text tabs part. So we have the contractor name, we have the contractor address, we have their availability. For the start date, you'll see that I have added two more keys here, which is conditional parent label and then the conditional parent value. So checkbox 2 is basically the conditional parent label. And if I go back here up, I'll see that this is checkbox 2, which is on the CB2 part. So if that is true, only then show the start date or else don't show it. And then there is an initial here tab. And then finally, there's a sign here tab for this user. After that, I have another user, which is the team lead who's hiring this person. And then for them, there's a separate signing order. So they'll sign the second, I mean, after the contractor signs, the agreement will be, or the document will be sent to the second person for signing. And this person just has three tabs here. The first one is date signed, the second one is the name of the person, and the third one is signature. And then finally, we have the status of the envelope that will have to be placed as sent. So let's
Nice. So
start with.
we have a JSON body here that basically builds us our whole document. Like the whole
Yes.
document is outlined. All those anchor tabs that we placed earlier and are now white are going to now be recognized from this JSON body and then be filled in with the information that we've supplied. It's so cool. It's so cool.
I'll paste everything here. Before that, I'm just copying this and going to check my JSON. So check JSON and let's validate it. I'll paste everything here and validate JSON. There's a lot of failures. So what does it say? Okay, I'll add another brace. What does it say now? There's an additional. Okay, one more. Should be good now. Okay,
It's
so
a
I'll
handy
copy over
tool.
this. Yeah, it's pretty handy. It also, I mean, there are a lot of formatters that allow you to beautify the JSON also. Now it's looking very ugly. Okay, now what we'll do is I'm going to add my base 64 here. So just place your cursor out, put it back in, file content. We're going to copy over this again because it gets the entire key. So after the body, question mark, single quote, and dollar content. All right. Okay. And then here I'm going to put the email address of the person. So it, it comes from SharePoint. And then the name is basically the title of the person or the title from the list. And yeah, that's pretty much it here.
Okay.
So at the end for this one, I'm going to remove the other personal ID and going to put um, the Outlook ID for this account, which is this one, Yash at the rate MPPBTD, and that was to be here, MPPBTD dot on Microsoft.com. Okay, all right,
Quite an email.
there we, yeah, and yeah, okay, this is pretty much it. After this, we'll have another action. So we want to update SharePoint stating that we've sent it for signing. So let's select that. The list is new contractors and ID is going to be from our trigger. Title is a required field, so we'll have to pass that. And the status value is sent for signing. Now that we have this, I'll just save it again. Okay, let's rename it. That's the first thing.
I do the same thing. I never rename it until I save it once.
Okay, so I'll save this. So this is our document. And we want to extract that document and then save it back to SharePoint. So while this is saving, I'll open up another tab real quick and again go to Flow, bring the tab close. I'll go to My Flows and start up with a new one. And this time we are actually going to use the DocuSign connector. So you'll see that we have DocuSign. This is for the production side. And then we want to select this trigger that says every time the status of an envelope changes.
Let me pause you real quick, Yash. I think you cut
Yes.
out there. I just want to say the main DocuSign one that doesn't say demo, that's for production. And when you
Yes.
do DocuSign demo, that's for the developer account or the demo account. That connects here. So when you're building those, make sure production goes to DocuSign and demo or dev goes to DocuSign demo.
Yes. So here I have my account ID. I'll have to provide a connection name. So let's name it as test. And the envelope event is going to be completed. And completed is basically everybody on that signing list has signed it.
Cool.
I'll add a new step and again search for DocuSign demo and look for the action to get envelope documents. So select this one, um, put the account ID. Okay, and your envelope ID is going to come from the trigger. So I'll just directly pass it. Date of completion okay, and this is where we are going to use the unique ID. So I'm going to select the site and add a filter query over here which says um, envelope ID. Let's quickly check if it was there. Okay, capital I
Yeah,
and
you
capital
did.
D
Yeah.
and equals single quote. That's one. Now, what this does is it searches the list for matching envelope ID and then returns us with an array, but we need only the first one. So I'm going to add attachment, select the side, the list, and just put the file name for now, contractor agreement dot pdf, and put the file content over here. Okay. Now I'll just add a quick compose action, and this is
Compose
just a
and Power Automate. It's like an empty box. You can do anything with it.
so from our get items, I'll put the ID here. You'll see that it added to an apply to each loop. We need the value as capital IND. So just copy everything from here, open this one, and then switch to expression type first because the first one is what we want to get. Get rid of the braces and the @ sign, put a question mark here, and then capital IND. Copy this. Okay. So that's going to be the ID, and I'll add another new step to update the item and say that the agreement has been completed and it has been signed. So we'll click on that. Okay, we'll use the same one. And since we have to put the title also, so I'm just going to put it as a part of the expression here and update it to sign. So this is done. We can get rid of this apply to each and name this flow as save signed agreement and save it.
I love this. It's like seeing all these different parts getting built, right? And we're getting closer and closer to this moment where it's all going to run.
Alrighty. So we're ready now. We have the save signed agreement flow and we have our flow to send the contractor agreement. So let's do the test now. I'm going to
It's
hit
part.
the and manually and come here and create a new item. So let's put my name and email as
If you have any questions at home, feel free to drop them in the chat. We have a few minutes to answer them as we're going.
change it to draft and save it. Okay, so now this should have kicked off this flow. As you can see, it shows that it's running now and it's successful. So it has sent over the document and
Okay.
updated the item here that it is sent for signing. Now let's see what
Nice.
came back to us. I'll close this one, come back. So it says that it is the contractor agreement. Let's review. Okay, I agree. Continue. So as I click start, it's going to put me to the required field, put my full name, and then it's asking me to fill the address. So I'm just going to put address here, and then availability of, let's say, 20 hours every month. So I have two options to select from. If you see, when I hover here, it says that I'm going to have to select one option only. So let's say monthly is fine. Select. So I've selected. I'm going to put my initial here.
Hey, found you this time.
Yeah,
You're
I
not
mean
Patricia.
it goes in the name, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
you, as you can see here, so I have the immediate start or a preferred date, and the start date is empty because the value on the preferred date is it's off. So if I select this, it's going to require this field. If I select it back, it's going to make it as not required. So let's
Nice.
make it as required and say, 1st of September. And as I come here for the contractor, I'll have to sign here, and it puts the date sign tab automatically. Now
Beautiful.
I'll complete and finish this. So what it does is sends the second it sends it to the second person in the routing order. So okay, I'm done. I'll navigate back here and open my other account. So let's see, refresh. Okay, all right, so it is sending it over on the other part, but you'll see that once somebody views, you'll get a notification that they have also viewed it. So
Nice.
I'll start signing from my end. And now you'll see that all the inputs from the first signer is already here. So I'll just start. It'll navigate me at the end. You'll see all the previous inputs. So I can put my name again and sign here. So there you go, and finish. So
Nice.
now the first part is complete. Basically, all the users have signed everything and the document status is complete. It's time for our second flow to kick off and extract all of the extract the signed agreement along with the signature certificate, and then put it
Yeah.
back to SharePoint.
Okay. And this one will probably take a second because what has to happen is on the DocuSign side, the envelope has to update to completed. It then has to send a signal to Power Automate. Oh, there it went. Actually, it triggered.
Yeah. And let's see where it failed. I'm guessing it's on the ID of the item because it accepts integer, but we'll know.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you see the item ID.
Ah,
So it says resolved string values are invalid. They may be null or empty for the item ID. Let's just quickly edit this, but you see that it runs for the other part. And if I
yep.
come here, oh, I know why it failed, because while updating the envelope, I mean, while sending this, we didn't save the envelope ID at all.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you see, over here we have this envelope ID. Ideally, we would have saved this on our update item, and only
Okay.
then it would update it over here. So if there's empty, I mean, there's no envelope ID over here, so therefore it did not find any item corresponding to that one.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. All right, cool. Well, we got
Right.
just about a. What, oh, did you have something else? You can
Yes,
fix
just
it?
yeah, 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 let's fix
Oh,
it
okay.
manually.
He's
So
gonna
I'm
fix it.
going
Let's do it.
to do a copy on the envelope ID. We can edit the SharePoint item. So
Okay.
let's just paste it here and come back to our second flow and resubmit it.
Okay. Perfect.
Should work now.
Quick solution. Quick
Mhm.
solution.
I just want to show the signed one, how it looks.
Yes.
Okay, taking more time than expected, but um, a few more seconds, I believe.
Oh man, that's
Let's
it. Let's go
open
ahead and
up.
let it load. I'm gonna pull up a comment real quick here on the screen. No questions, but just went the high and ugly code route. Just want to say that I've seen some of your videos on YouTube, even with Yash. I want to say appreciate them as well as today. John Lou, thank you, man. Really appreciate that, and I appreciate you being here. And feel free to connect with Yash. He has tons of ideas. He's doing this stuff all the time, and he's way better at Power Automate than I've ever been. So he's a good resource to connect with. And again, really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
Nice. Good to hear that. Okay, so we have the flow successful, but it's taking a couple of seconds to load the run. However, we can come here and we'll see that it shows it as sign. And if I click the title, I have the contractor's agreement here.
Nice.
And when I open it, we'll see all the details and the certificate of signing as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Awesome. And so if we just put that one little piece, if we pass that one parameter, that second flow would have ran, it would have grabbed that ID, and it would have moved this automatically. So you would have had that signed agreement there now living next to that your system of record, whatever that might be. In this case for us, SharePoint.
Yeah.
Awesome. Man, okay. Well, few things. First, let me say a big thank you to you, Yash. Really appreciate you being here and sharing with the community like this. I think it's fantastic that you are so willing to come and so readily share your knowledge and give to the community. So really appreciate you being here, man.
Thank you so much, John. It has been a great experience as always.
Awesome. And so for you guys at home, go ahead and check the chat. Gabriel, who's here, is going to go ahead and drop some resource links. There's a few things. There's a DocuSign dev account that you can get. There's a blog post from us. I have some video links. There's a link to the Good Code Hackathon that is still going on. If you are here from Good Code, make sure to get your video in. Time is running short. It's very important that that video gets in so that your entry counts. So make sure, go get all the details, check out DevPost, and yes, let me see here. We got a comment coming in. Awesome. So that's Gabriel dropping the links there. I'm going to go ahead and show that real quick just so you can see. Go ahead and check the comments there. Other than that, make sure and get send him your questions. But otherwise, that is it from us here at DocuSign for Developers. We appreciate you being here with us today. And if you have any questions, go ahead and hit us up on the Dev Center. Leave them here in the chat and we'll get back to them after. Or I'm going to go ahead and put my email in the chat so that you can shoot me a personal email as well. All right. And that is there in the chat. So that's it from us. One more, Yash. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys all soon. Take care, everybody.